Well, we are off to another cemetery.
Hello there, pair peeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I'm your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
We are off to, what's the name of the cemetery?
Woodland Cemetery.
Woodland Cemetery.
In Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. But before we get into that, if you're into the history, paranormal, and forensic type videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come along with Our Haunted Travels. So this cemetery is actually the final resting place of the Wright Brothers and the Wright family and other notables from Dayton, Ohio. So we're going to bring you along and on our adventure and show you some of the notable grave sites.
Woodland Cemetery was established in 1841 for the express purpose of creating a resplendent cemetery landscaped to support a rapidly growing city. Since its very beginning, Woodland has been the conservator of Dayton history and the culture of its people. With over 110,000 souls entrusted to its care, it is the final resting place of many of Dayton's most distinguished residents, including the Wright brothers, Paul Laurence Dunbar, James Cox, Irma Bombeck, and Charles Kettering. So this is the grave of Johnny Morehouse, and there's a statue of him and a dog on the top. The story of this one is that the little boy drowned, I believe, and the dog couldn't save him. But then they brought him here, and the dog wouldn't leave his grave. And now, from time to time, people will see the dog and him running around over here. So that's the paranormal claim for this location. Orville Wright was one of a pair of Dayton brothers who taught the world to fly. After dropping out of school in 1889, he started a printing business by building a press with his brother Wilbur. The Wrights became intrigued with the bicycle and eventually opened a bicycle repair shop and showroom. Soon they began working on an improved bicycle design. In 1896, Orville Wright came down with typhoid fever. While reading to pass the time during his recuperation, the brothers became interested in gliders and flight. They quickly read all of the information available to them at the time. Of the three components required for human flight, lift, locomotion, and control, Orville's interests focused on the development of the engine that would power the aircraft. Wilbur Wright focused his attention on the theory and mechanics of controlling the airplane during flight. He developed the theory of wing warping. Practical experimentation revealed that the standard tables of lift and drag were incorrect, so the Wright brothers built a wind tunnel in their shop to recalculate them. This enabled them to design new wings, building gliders that were capable of long, controlled flights. The data from the glider flights allowed them to perfect the airplane design. The first powered flight occurred the morning of December 17th of 1903. By the end of the day, Wilbur had flown 852 feet in 59 seconds. The brothers then set out to build a practical aircraft, and by 1905, they had succeeded.
So over there in the corner is a QR code, which I scanned just to see, what kind of information. They have like the biography of everybody here. And then down below, because I was wondering what was in the center there, and that is Otis and Ida Wright. They were babies that died at birth. They were twins. in 1870. So they would have been siblings to Wilbur and Orville, Catherine. Otis Wright, according to records, death records, they died of jaundice. And they were buried in the Greencastle Cemetery, and their remains were removed and buried here with the family. I didn't even know that they had twins. Or twin siblings. Okay, it says here that Otis died first, and Ida lived 5 days after him. Interesting. Okay, so this is the gravesite of Paul Lawrence Dunbar. He was actually friends with the Wright brothers. He's a schoolmate of theirs. Now their grave is just right over there. If you could see the flags. I don't see it over there somewhere.
It's like there.
Yeah. So they're not too far. Now, Paul Dunbar is the first internationally renowned African American poet and writer. He's collaborated with the Wright brothers to write on the Dayton Tattler. It's a black neighborhood newspaper printed by the Wright brothers on the West 3rd Street presses. So he only lived to be 33, but over his lifetime, this is impressive. He wrote novels, plays, short stories, newspaper articles, essays, and over 600 poems. Here's actually a picture of him. And this is all on the Woodland Cemetery website.
So this is the deeds plot, and we believe this to be Colonel Edward A. Deeds, who was an engineer, inventor, and industrial organizer, a leader in fight for flood control in Miami Valley. He was a chief of aircraft procurement in World War, and he, he served as the first president of the Conservancy District, helped Charles Kettering invent the self-starter for automobiles, and formed the Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company. Later, we learned that this would be called Delco. And with Kettering, he built, equipped, and donated the Engineers Club of Dayton and purchased land for public aviation field. Alright, this is James Middleton Cox. He was a congressman, a governor, a businessman, and a presidential nominee. He founded the Cox Media Group, one of the largest communication companies in the world, comprised of newspaper, television, and radio. He was a force in politics. He represented Dayton in Congress for 2 terms, served as governor of Ohio for 3 terms. He was responsible as governor for creating the state's workers' compensation system. He secured state aid for Dayton after the 1913 flood and helped create the Miami Conservancy District. In 1920, he was the Democratic nominee for President of the United States, and his vice presidential nominee running mate was none other than Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Unfortunately, they did lose to another Ohioan, Warren Harding. Now, James Cox became an important advisor later when FDR actually did become president, and he was nominated into the Dayton Hall of Fame in 1996.
Scroll up, I'll show the picture. So we've been to a lot of cemeteries, a lot of graves.
Yeah.
This is the hardest one to get to.
I've never had to do such a workout to get to a
So this is the Patterson Knoll. These are all Pattersons. First we tried that way, above the hill, but there was no parking up there. So the second time we parked, you could see the car on the other side of that tree right down there. We just climbed up this hill. Whew. That was interesting. So this is an entire family here. Captain Robert, Mary Thomas, wife of Captain Robert. You know, quite frankly, I didn't even know how they got the hearse down here. You know? They had to carry him down. Or up. Stairs. Wait, what?
It says that here are the commemorated Colonel Robert Patterson, pioneer American, and his descendants who occupy this resting place. Colonel Patterson was of that hardy frontier race who won the West for the United States. He moved to Dayton from Kentucky in 1804 and died at a nearby Rubicon Farm in 1827. The first of his name and family are buried here.
So behind you is the name of his family.
Yeah.
All those names. Okay, so tell me again.
This is First Lieutenant Frank Stewart Patterson, and he is who the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is partially named after.
And then John Henry.
John Henry is the National Cash Register guy, and he created direct mail marketing advertising.
Unless he's under it.
Alright, so these are the Browns, so the Pattersons are all that way, from that way to the trees.
there's unfortunately several of these that the names you just can't see on them at all. I'm assuming that one of them has to be the first Patterson that came here, but unfortunately I can't find any of them that are dated in the 1700s, and he died in 1827, but he was born in 1753, and I don't see any of them in here with those numbers, so it has to be some of these ones that you just can't read at all. But he's somewhere up here on the mountain. Well, hill, but it seems like a mountain to us.
All right, so we just came back down the hill there from seeing Patterson. We had to include that in the video here about the cemetery because, yeah, but that was definitely an adventure.
A hike. I have never, ever been to a cemetery where you had to climb like a mountain.
Yeah.
I don't know how they ever put those graves in up there.
I don't either. I mean, it's kind of cool where they're at, but to get to them, pay your respects. Wow.
And to get down was just even harder.
So there's, you know, so many more here in this cemetery. We just don't have the time to cover them all. We hit a couple of them that we thought that were kind of important to document, notable for
Everybody's
our hunted
important.
tribe. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I know.
I'm a little spent, especially the Wright brothers and the Wright family and everything. So is there anything else you'd like to add to this video?
No, I just need to relax now. My climbing days are a little behind me, I think.
Yeah, that was a little rough.
Yeah.
All right, folks. If you like this series, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're into the history, paranormal, and forensic type videos, this is the place. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All right, until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.